Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, welcome to episode 85, and as you can see if you're watching the YouTube, we have another big episode because we have got some guests. One is actually a returning guest. He was our first guest all the way back in episode 17, something like that. So we have got both Dan and Pat from Console Wars here today.
Hello.
What up, guys? We talked about this for a while. Very, very happy to have you guys on. When did we do that drinking stream with you?
April, May.
April-ish?
Yeah,
that's a good guess.
Yeah, that was the start of all the madness, and we got nice and drunk that day.
That's lightly putting it, I think.
I think half of us disappeared. I know I at least disappeared to throw up at one point.
But that's par for the course, Jim.
It's true. I'm a big old bitch anymore.
Adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call that.
Yeah.
So you guys, what beers you got? I saw what Dan was just picking up.
Yes, this rare thing called a Miller Lite. I don't know if you've heard of it before. It's a little bit stronger than water, and if I drink 30 of them, I'll feel something. So there you go.
Good palate cleanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm changing it up and sticking with Captain Morgan this evening.
Nice. Wait, Captain, a little bit of Coke, I see?
Captain Diet.
Okay. Girls gotta
keep
watch her
this,
figure.
Exactly. It keeps this slender, you see.
I've got me a good old local Philly brew. Got me a Yards Brawler. Had me a few of these for tonight.
Nice.
4.2% alcohol. I thought this was always harder, but I guess as my palate got better, worse over the years, yeah, this just goes straight down anymore. This used to be the thing like back in the Rolling Rock days when I'd be like, oh, God.
Damn it, Jim. Why is that always your voice for everything?
It's slowly morphing just into that voice. That's becoming a real person anymore.
All right, well, tonight I'm going with Trogs, which is PA local, and I'm doing their Master of Pumpkin. I never had this one before. It's pretty damn good. It's really high in the nutmeg and cinnamon for a pumpkin beer, 7.5%.
Oh, that's up there.
And yeah, a little heavier, and they're calling it their house wit style with pumpkin spices added in there.
Oh,
so.
nice. So like a Belgian?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see, it's pretty damn clear actually, but really amber, almost no head, and gives the most minimal amount of lacing. Damn tasty, the little bit I've already had, so Trogs usually doesn't
what's the
go
percentage
well.
on that?
The 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any IBUs on there?
I'd probably put that in the 50s, 40s or 50s.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, there's barely any bite to this guy, so if it tops 50, I would say.
Yeah.
Good, nice and dangerous.
Exactly, and it's in these the good old 16 ouncer, so I got at least 3 of these on the side that'll be going through.
Alright, so obviously everyone knows you guys at this point, but for those who don't know, why don't you guys give a quick little plug for your channel?
I'm Nintendo. Wait, no.
That's it, though.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on the YouTube. It's called Console Wars. It's a web series where we compare games, pretty much Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. We can take 2 games, we compare them, we throw in silly humor, and that's pretty much the show.
And he's underselling the hell of it. It is a very, very well done show, and it's very funny. And these guys, you got to go over. If you don't, I mean, chances are you already have checked them out. And you might have seen a little bit more on Twitter, as we've talked about 2 podcasts ago.
Well, yeah, you guys are exexecutive producers now, right?
That's right.
We're a little show on CBS.
Work for
Bumping
CBS
on up
and
in the
everything.
world.
That's right.
Those sons of bitches. I saw your tweet today, but has anything else come out of that? Has
No.
they reached out at all? Nothing.
No,
yet,
they're not.
and
They're not
people
going
keep
to reach
tagging
out.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt they would, because if they reach out, then they'll know, or it'll make it more like obvious. Like, yeah, we did steal your logo. That's why we're reaching out to you. So if they
Right.
kind of ignore us, then they can be like, no, we didn't steal it. We don't know you or anything.
And
We hope
people will chime in and tag us, and then they just get deleted. It's just like someone's on it.
Someone
Someone's
knows.
aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so shitty, as
Yep.
we talked about. And, when Dan, I don't know. I think we had asked you this before, but just refresh my mind. When you came up with that? Did you draw it? Did you commission it? Like, what happened?
I think how it went was like I was. This was when Greg was still with the show, so I was like, we need a logo, man. Something simple, just like do like the Nintendo font for console and then the Sega font for Wars, and then put like a Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis in the background, and then that's what he did, and you know. That's why it's like they could have taken it or they could have just came up with it because it's not the most original idea. It's pretty obvious if you're going to compare these two consoles what it is, but just the fact that like theirs looks like even like the size of the font's almost like the same. Like the only thing that's really different is like the uppercase C in the word console,
Right,
which
Wars lays on the line instead of underneath it. That's the only difference.
Yeah, so it's like the fact that you have like console and Wars, like if it was maybe side by side, but it's like console over Wars and it looks pretty similar. And it's funny too because I was texting Greg about it. It's like, shit, dude, you see what happened to the logo? He's like, yeah, man, uppercase C. I fucking like it. I really like it. I'm like, God damn it.
You're like, that's not the thing to say.
I know. And he kept texting me like the whole day, man. I really wish I made that C uppercase. Damn it.
So obviously the next question, Dan, what are you going to do with your CBS money?
Give some to us, obviously.
Dude, I just it seems obviously very blatant to us, and I think to anyone who looks at it, like you just said, but they couldn't even have gone the extra mile and flipped, like use the Sega font for the opposite of what you guys did and the Nintendo. Like
That's
at
what I
least
said.
switch
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
You know, no, this was some low-level guy that's like, oh, it's my job to find a logo. Hey, let me do an internet search on this. And they're like, I got the idea.
Yeah.
Here's how we make it just different enough.
I have a friend who's he's kind of he's a government affiliate. I'm not entirely sure in what capacity, but he goes around basically doing weed legalization things. Older gentleman, but he's got a lot of connections. And I recently, actually this past Saturday, told him what had happened, and he's gonna run it by one of his trademark attorneys and see if there's anything he thinks we could do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you guys have established us for so long, if you just Google console wars, your guys' thing comes up.
Right.
It's not like you're like 50 pages down, you're obscure. So, I don't know. I think there's something there. Like Jim and I talked about on our podcast, not to the level of what you guys have, but like people would use what we commission, the same deal, but it was like usually other channels, and we're just like, hey, like you still have our exact name and the logo that you stole from us. Can you just drop that?
Right.
Like simple shit. But yeah, that
Could you maybe cease and desist that?
exactly. Just, at least be a little more crafty. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, so that was a big drum roll. These guys, though, I can't stress enough. Go out, watch their videos. I don't know what else to say other than they're one of the best, well-produced videos we've seen in a long time from content creators on YouTube.
Yep. New video for Fatal
Thank
Fury
you.
just came out, yesterday? I believe? 2 days ago?
Yeah. Saturday the 11th, I think, is the Saturday. Probably.
Yes.
It was great as always. You made the right pick.
Now, I got to ask, when you guys get together, because we were joking before we started, like all the technical issues you can run into, but when you guys are setting up and you know you're going to do something with like costumes and all that, does that get you more excited, or you go, oh, this is going to be a long day of shooting?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, I think.
Yeah, it depends. I was gonna say it depends on the costume. Like the last one, Fatal Fury, was fun. There wasn't a ton to do. The one before that, there was a lot to do. That was the Batman Forever. So there was the bat suit, the Two-Face makeup, the Weird Al. You had the Riddler. So that was a like one whole day of just shooting just the costume stuff. Was like 4 hours.
Yeah. Yep. And how did you end up liking that Batman Forever? Because I stopped by on that stream, and Pat, I know you weren't having the best time with it.
I was already having a bad day as it was, so the goddamn glide.
That one level, I just felt for you, man. I've been there with those games, and I could see in you exactly what happened to me. You're just like, all right, I'm gonna take a break.
Yup.
I'll come back to this never.
I'm going for a smoke. I need a drink. I'll be back.
Speaking of a drink, last week was our boy Brian's birthday, so we decided we're going to start this episode off right. do a little shotty shot for him.
Woo.
All right, Brian. Cheers,
Cheers,
man.
guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. That was a good bottle. Jameson, it's always hit or miss, but when you get a good one, you get a good one.
Yep.
So we hit the spectrum of whiskeys. You got Jameson, Jim got Tully, I got Bullet Bourbons, and then Dan had Scotch, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're sticking to the Irish end.
Yep. Yeah. We have a tendency of, and I can't wait till we can all get together, but us getting together and drinking has always been excessive, to say the least.
It's always worked out pretty well for Jim, I feel. All right.
Yeah, especially for me.
When we all get together, it will be a meeting of the Ubers.
Yeah.
To say the least. Someone just put one of those kitty leashes on me next time.
Somebody put a bell on him or something.
I just remember that moment, Dan, when we thought we straight up lost his ass.
I don't remember anything.
Well,
that
yeah,
night,
that's
so-
true. That's actually true too.
I've only
Yeah.
done one con with Dan so far, and that was a video game con. And even, what was it, the last day of it, I think, or the second to last day? We went to a bar afterwards, and I was just like, he was gone for like half an hour, and like, he came back, and he's got like the eyes closed. I was like, what did you do in that amount of time?
People are nice and buy me shots. I'm not gonna say no.
I have seen it firsthand. People do like to buy Dan shots, and almost similarly, Jim abandoned me. Dan was asleep on a couch, and almost like bodyguard, I had to pick him up to a degree to help get him to the van. It was, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you probably. I don't know, we gotta be close in weight. You're skinny and taller, but I'm shorter and less than skinny. But I handle it like a champ.
Yeah, so as soon as the cons do come back, that was what we were saying. We were obviously planning all meet up. I think too many games this year. That shit didn't happen.
Yeah.
But once it comes back,
I miss the cons so much.
yeah, just an excuse to get away and drink your face off.
Well, and networking, definitely about networking and all that.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
We keep it
that's the
professional
important
around
stuff. Yeah.
Just networking. All I remember is just like going, God, why did I say that to that person? God, they must think I'm an ass. I usually get too drunk and then I buy the same game like 3 times at these cons. Like, oh shit, 3 Jungle Books? What am I gonna do with that?
I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm due for the day where like Bride just talks me into buying one of those like $400 consoles that are there. So it'll be like a Vectrex or 3DO or some shit like that. The ones I always want, but I'm like, I'm not spending this much on it.
Yeah, this guy always talking about his goddamn Vectrex. Like, anybody knows what the hell it is, and we finally see it at the con. It's there. But no, he's got to spend, like, a stupid amount of money. He's like, oh, but this Wii game. I'm like, no, get a Vectrex.
Well, it was cute, and I can play with the family.
Damn
I
it,
bought
Jim.
39 Animal Crossings.
I have so many farms. Never enough farms.
Speaking of games, though, what, we know you guys are super busy with the channel, but you guys, what are you playing for just casual fun? If you get time for it, I should say.
Like, whenever I do have the time, I'll probably jump on for, a few rounds of Call of Duty or something like the most recent one. I think, what was that, Modern Warfare again?
Yeah.
Round 1. But, occasionally I'll bounce back to the retro stuff. I love my Castlevania, so I have the suite of all the Castlevania games downloaded, so I'll play a lot of those. Every now and then I'll jump back into Fallout 4. Just check on my settlements, see how everyone's doing.
That's right.
It's like a post-apocalyptic Sims at this point. Everything else is done. It's just like, here, have a tree.
You're like, I need more light bulbs over here.
Right, exactly. It's like, why aren't you happy? You have everything. 32 water. There's only 7 of you.
Can I ask, what is your favorite? Because we talked about this. Castlevania is my go-to like Halloween time game.
Okay.
And specifically, I like Super Castlevania 4.
Okay.
What is your go-to of that series?
That series, it used to be Castlevania 2, just because I remember that the most from childhood. But then Symphony of the Night, I think, is my go-to. Now,
Okay.
I will jump back into that and just mess around for hours.
Nice.
So you're not like
Yeah.
me where you get like hopelessly lost and frustrated, then put it away for a year and then try to come back to it.
I think I'm at the point now where I got the castle pretty well mapped out in my brain.
I bet. So did you dip in all the Game Boy Advance and DS ones, or You just kind of like hit Symphony and you're like, I'm good on this.
No, I do. I mean, they are downloaded. What's funny is I recently found my Game Boy with all the games. Still works like a champ. I mean, the original brick, not the little guy, the first version ever.
Oh, wow.
And I think the one I have with that was Belmont's Revenge, I think was the Game Boy.
Is it this guy?
It's the best one to have.
Yeah, that one, yep.
Yep.
But yeah, it's still in its hard shell case and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
I think I told you this when you joined our Batman stream, but I've been playing since it's October and I like to get scared. So I started revisiting the Resident Evil games. So I played Resident Evil 0. That's where I started. And after beating that, I finally played 7 for the first time. And that's been incredible. I actually just beat it last night. I purposely sat with it last night. Like, I gotta beat it before the podcast. Because we might be talking about it quite a bit. But
yeah, we were just talking about that last week when we were filming.
Yeah, I was like, Pat, you gotta get... Because Pat hasn't played it. And I'm like, you like the old Resident Evil, man? You gotta play this. Because this is the best Resident Evil I've played since, like, getting scared of playing the first one. It's so good. I love
Have
Resident
you guys
Evil
heard
7.
they're doing a remake, like a total reboot of Resident Evil, and it's going back to, like, the original?
No, because I mean they've done the remakes of obviously 1, 2, and 3.
Right, I'm talking not like the shitty Mila Jovovich ones. Like they're making.
The movie.
movies.
Yes,
So
yeah.
they're
I'm
rebooting
so
it from
excited for
scratch.
that.
So am I. I just found out. I was like, how is this news to me? And like, I'm excited, but also a little bummed because for years I had an idea. I wanted to write a script for just Resident Evil Origins, like the the mansion. Just start with that.
Yeah, dude. Jim gets annoyed because I'm known to make lists and do crazy research, but I went into the lore of Resident Evil and I literally tracked like from literally the very beginning. Here's how the T virus was created. Same deal. Like I created a timeline, and this was just because I was bored at work. I was like, oh, let me just do this. But I saw that same deal. Crazy excited.
Yep.
And Dan, when we talked on that stream and you said you were going to do 0, I think you remember me saying, like, it's a little grind heavy. It's a lot of, like, dropping things and switching. But, dude, 7, as soon as you said you were interested in that, I couldn't recommend that enough.
Yeah, it really freaked me out. Like, I remember the first night I played it, I was walking around my house, like, I only play it at night, right? You have to play it at night.
Yeah, you have
to.
Lights off.
I'm walking around, like, I'm expecting, like, hillbillies to come out and, like, grab me and, like, force me to, like, cut off my hands or something. I was so freaked out after playing. I don't remember the last time I got that scared playing a video game. I couldn't fucking believe it. Resident Evil 7. Oh, my God. So good.
There it is. I was gonna say I still have the original for PlayStation in the original box. I will never get rid of it. That is one game that I can never get rid of.
Do you have the long box? The old one?
Oh yeah. And Dan, by the way, when you were in the house.
Oh yes.
Oh dude, yeah. That's art right there.
It is. I don't know what crack they were on when they designed Chris Redfield on the front, but my God, that's art.
I don't know what the
original foam.
You smell that? That's 1998, baby.
Exactly. It smells of a better time.
No, but that game, even from the beginning when Mia's coming up the dark stairway, and she's that game is just. Whoo.
Yeah, like I just so many audible yelps coming out of my face. It was intense. And
the only thing I regret with that game, I played it for the first time while live streaming it. So I'm trying to like be engaging, but at the same time I'm trying to be into the game.
Yeah.
And I fucked up so many times because I was like trying to like, I'm answering a comment. Oh God, what's going on? Like, what,
you cannot be both engaging and terrified at the same time.
Exactly.
They don't crisscross.
So yeah, Pat, if you when you get to play it, let me know what you think, because.
Okay.
Did you guys see, though, Resident Evil 8 is going to be coming out soon? Or I think next year?
Yeah, I saw a thing about it. I didn't watch whatever came out with it or anything.
It was like a 2-minute teaser with some couple little cutscenes. Didn't really show much.
Okay.
But it looks like Resident Evil 7 again, and it's going to be... It's back to Chris, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's Chris in some weird village, but, like, I don't know, like, without giving spoilers to 7, like, 7 isn't zombies per se.
Right.
And 8 is almost, I don't know if they're werewolves or some kind of other creature, but it's very, like, you're in this whole village, and it's very horror themed, like, going back to the mansion and like what the fuck is going on. But it's got that 7 first person style that I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Now, I think we need a new Patreon goal for Dan, where he buys a VR set and then he has to play through 7 in VR this time. But he has to live stream it the whole time. So like,
Yep.
Pat can handle the chat. Dan has to be engrossed.
I'll
in
handle the
himself.
chat, but I will also like poke at Dan with a stick.
Yep.
Every now and then.
The end goal is for Dan to shit himself on stream.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Pat's gonna be poking me. Is that poop in his pants? That's poop in his pants.
It is.
We did it,
Not
everybody.
yet. Now it is.
Now donate.
Yeah, you also have to be really drunk while you do it too. 'Cause
Yep.
that would be pretty funny.
Okay,
Oh,
it starts,
God.
I want to say it
Please puke
starts
in your mask.
sober, but just continues to get worse.
Uh-huh.
I think that's why I held off playing it for so long, because I was like, I gotta play some VR to get the full experience. Let me just save up for VR or wait for it to go down in price, and none of those things happened, so I just decided to play it.
I'm gonna wear
Yeah.
full body armor when I do it, just so I don't get punched or like elbowed or something.
Now, Jim, what about you? You been able to play anything this past week?
Yeah, I mentioned it a couple episodes ago, but I wanted to touch back on that Overblood on PS1, and I actually spent a little time with that this week. So, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like EA's Resident Evil ripoff. So
Okay.
you start off like as this guy, he has amnesia, he wakes up in a basement laboratory. Laboratory's all destroyed and blown to shit, and it's really, I'll give it this, it's really atmospheric. Like, the first hour to hour and a half of the game, you almost don't even encounter any enemies at all. It's just like puzzle solving and trying to just figure out what's going on, little jump scares here and there.
Wait, what's the name of it?
Overblood.
Okay, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I'll grab the case in a second. But
Okay.
Yeah, it's got the tank controls like Resident Evil.
I was
but
gonna ask you that too.
Yes, it does.
Oh god.
But, dude, like, I grew up with Resident Evil tank controls. I'm fine with tank controls.
Yeah.
Even these are janky for me. Like,
Yeah.
like you run in the walls, and also you have characters you in real time flipping back and forth between, kind of like how you do in Zero, but like you'll be like flipping back to a character you need, and he'll be like 7 screens behind, stuck on a wall, and it's like, oh, okay, this is why people don't talk about it.
Yep.
But no, like, it was still, I was getting into it, and then of course I died, and I hadn't touched a single save spot yet. Either I didn't realize it was a save spot, or I just didn't get the one yet. So I was like, oh, that's 2 hours of my life wasted. I'll come back to this. I don't know when. If we do a video, I'll come back to it, but...
It's like trying to save Natalia in GoldenEye. You're just like, you're at the end of the map and you just see her running through flames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that one proxy mine blows her up and you have to redo it again.
Like, I made it! Where were you?
Oh, those goddamn NPC people that follow you.
But yeah,
Nice.
besides that, I was sticking with the Turbo Mini a little bit and some games for future videos I'm working on, so that's been about it.
Nice. Yeah, this week has been... You know,
Let me go grab that case real quick.
I've dicked around with Call of Duty like you've had every so often. I'll hop on there. But I play a horror game called Dead by Daylight that I've talked about here. And it's basically a killer versus 4 people, like the asymmetrical style. And they keep adding like DLC, so you can have Michael Myers,
Oh,
and
nice.
Leatherface, the Demigorgon from Stranger Things, like crazy shit.
Yeah.
So that's like perfect for Halloween season. But Jim and I were talking, and because he brought it up as a topic, have either of you touched on or know anything about that game Among Us? You've probably seen the memes where it's like a little like colored dude in a spacesuit, so it's like red, yellow,
Oh,
whatever.
is that like the little visor guy?
Yes,
I've
yeah.
seen it. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know anything about it or I haven't played it.
Same.
Free on phones.
The easiest way, it's free on phones, it's on Steam, but like the easiest way to describe it is there's 10 people, one of them is called the imposter, and his goal is to sabotage the spaceship you're on or kill the other survivors. And when someone sees a body, they report it, and it becomes about how good of a liar you are, where you're like, I don't know, this guy over here seemed like he was shady, so we should vote him off. And you can like exile people. It's just a it's a very good like social experiment.
I
is
think
all
I
can
know
say.
somebody who was either a developer on that or was just playing the beta, because I heard about that in like probably December, January, before it was actually released. I didn't realize that's what that was, and this is a little bit weird for me now.
Yeah, like, it came out in like 18, but no one played it until this year, apparently.
Okay.
Like, it blew up this year out of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause some Twitch streamers started like putting it out there, and it got so much popularity. But that game is the perfect, like, oh, I gotta take a shit, let me just play a game on my phone, and you all of a sudden, or you're at night in your bed, and like before you go to bed, you get a few in, and it's one of those like, I can't say the gameplay's fun, but what's fun is because you're playing with other people, and you're just trying to call people on bullshit, or like I said, it's a social experiment. So that's the thing that like, when I get a minute, I'll do a few games here and there.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a game you want to set up with like a bunch of our buddies to like do a big Discord call with and all play together. So, I mean, I know I'll get voted off first because.
Yeah, but you're always suspect, Jim.
I'm not trustworthy. I'll give you that. But no, it's actually a lot of fun. And since it's like on the phone, it's just like, oh, I'll check it out. I'll see what the meme's about. And I was like, ew.
Okay.
That sounds
No,
pretty
actually-
addictive. Yeah.
It is, man.
Very addictive.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Because
Pat,
you can
here's
go
the,
through a game.
Here's the game.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the game.
What am I? Okay. Yeah, that does look familiar. All right.
Yeah, I was telling him, Pat, that was a game like being obsessed with survival horror. I always saw it. I never played it, and I was like, God damn, I really want to try that out. So, Jim, yes, back to what you said, we will be playing that. And don't worry, I'll play it so we actually beat it, not like you.
Good.
Miss save states.
Have fun.
Game. I can't remember the name of it. It's very similar to what the game you just showed me. You're basically like same thing. You have amnesia. Your name was like Ethan something, but your arms are all bandaged up, and you keep bouncing in and out of like a dark world and a normal world, and it's all in your head. And I think you have like these telekinetic powers. It was like
Not Eternal Darkness or
might have been that. I want to say the cover
Amnesia.
was like looking through a peephole on a door, but it's very BioShock, Resident Evil mishmashed.
The Condemned? I think
It
that
might
has,
be
like,
the
a cover
Condemned.
like that.
It might be the Condemned.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, the people. Wait.
I think that's what it is. I remember playing. I think they made 2 of them. There was that and a sequel.
Yeah, I have the second one. I never
Okay.
played the first.
Yeah, I remember playing the first one and I got excited. Like they don't look great. It looks like if they like one of the early Star Wars games was turned into one of those.
Right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I'm almost positive now that you said the peephole, it is definitely the Condemned.
Yep, that
like,
sounds
and
about
the
right.
peephole was like there was a green hue to it, maybe,
Yes.
or like yes, yeah, it's a creepy ass game too.
Yep. Yeah, I remember like you could like pull pipes off the wall with like your whatever your powers were and use those against whatever creatures they were. They weren't like zombies. They were almost more like the ghouls from Fallout. It was something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like if you heard of that game Outlast, it was Outlast before there was Outlast. So,
Okay.
yeah, nice. All right, Jim. So, what you got for us from Patreon?
Well, Bri, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on every single episode of the Power Hour podcast. So, first up from Game Whisperer Dean. Question to your guests. What were you thinking coming on this podcast? Motherfucker.
Fuck you, Dean.
I was thinking of just getting Jim hammered and making him regret it. That's all.
I get to
gonna
cover a
go buy
room
and
by
drink
myself
stuff.
tomorrow at work, so yeah, this is going to go out great. So at least I can sit there on my desk all day like this, and no one has to see it. So I have that going for me.
Wait, Dan, did you just say Jim should do another shot?
Yeah,
Ew.
did. Well, there's 2 guests, and we only took 1 round of shots, so I feel like that's a tradition, right?
I mean, yeah, you always got to do at least 2. So, Jim, I mean, you don't want to be rude.
You don't want to be the odd man out, Jim.
I don't have anything by me. It's all upstairs.
Jim, just bring your bottle down.
I'm not bringing the fucking bottle down. I'll do one more shot and regret it.
Don't fill it with apple juice.
God damn it.
All right, so we'll cut this part here, and I'm saying that for myself because I'm the editor. Fucking editing. God. Do you guys split that, or who does the editing with you, Toad?
It's all me, man.
Oh, Dan. Dan does it. I basically I do the thumbnail, any like artwork that we need within the episode, backgrounds, or like just dumb little jokey stuff. And then I show up and say my words, and Dan pretty much does the rest.
Gotcha. Dan, I feel for you with the editing.
Oh, yeah.
I know that pain.
Yeah, it's a lot of pain. A lot of stress. A lot of like, what the fuck? Got so much shit to do. God.
I'm fucking dying here.
Yeah. Fuck you, man! I gotta fucking edit this shit, man. Fuck you.
You're gonna get it done. You're gonna get it done. Say it with me. You're gonna get it
Say
done.
the fucking words.
And then Pat combs my hair with my blood. It's really cute.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking cop.
Yeah. This guy is not a cop. He's laying there with a bullet in his belly.
What? He's just gonna decide? I fucking love fucking Reservoir Dogs,
Yeah.
man.
Me and Jim used to always go back and forth. I love when Chris Penn, he's like, "Don't you shoot my daddy. Don't point a gun at my dad." He was trying to fuck me, daddy. You saw it.
I know boobies, pups.
You're gonna bark all day, little doggy. You're gonna bite.
All right, God, piss, damn it. We doing this right now, or?
All right,
We
hold
are.
on, Jim. Let me do the countdown since I'm cutting in that middle part. Coming back in 3, 2, 1. All right, so Jim,
Got him.
you're gonna regret this tomorrow, but
Yes,
cheers.
I am. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And that's why we did the podcast. Taste that? That's Jim's regret. Ah, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's the sound of a terrible next day.
Jim, how's that beer washing down that Tully?
Oh, dude, it's heavenly. All right, but no, good question, Dean. Next up, it's like, oh, we're doing this thing. Next up, from Eric Glowacki. Seeing as you guys gave thorough reviews of Ultimate Doom and Doom 2016, when can we expect your review of Doom Eternal? I have to play it first.
Doom Eternal just came out on Game Pass, and because I don't know if it's just because Microsoft bought Bethesda and all that,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna be playing that. And Jim, I've been telling you got to get Game Pass because there's a lot of games I want you to try. So the easy answer is within the next 6 months.
That's pretty fair
that's
for
a,
us.
That's a fair, because we got a few other games we got to get the reviews out for, but that's Jim and I love the shit out of the Doom remake, so Eternal is just
That
going to
is
be
a solid
fun.
weatherman answer.
Yeah.
Sometime in the future, possibly.
Yeah. Hey, I gave a 6-month timeline.
There you go.
No, we can do 6 months.
Yeah. Have either of you guys played either the Doom Eternal or the Doom remakes?
I have not.
Yeah, I played the I played the remake when we did our Doom episode. My buddy bought it for me years ago. He's like, "You gotta play this Doom." I'm like, "I never even fucking played the first Doom. What do I give a shit?" And then we had to play Doom for our Doom episode. So then I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome! What am I doing? Am I kicking him first, then shooting him? That is sweet." So yeah, I really liked it. I didn't finish it, but it's really good. I think you think it's like hard, but then like it's kind of easy to get life, so it's easy to stay alive. So I like that because I'm terrible at first-person shooters. But yeah, it was really enjoyable, really gruesome. Love that shit.
It's almost one of those ones where it's harder early on because
yeah.
you haven't upgraded anything yet. So even though like you're still learning the mechanics, but once you get in that rhythm and like you start like boosting some of the super weapons and the mega weapons or whatever, it's just the whole time it's just you flying around like chaining kills from guy to guy.
Yeah. No, it's really enjoyable. I gotta get back to it. I guess maybe after I'm done with the Resident Evil stuff.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, wait, by the way, sorry to jump around, but the Resident Evil, what are you doing after 7?
Well, I'm gonna do some DLC on 7, and I was thinking of going to 5 because I haven't played that one yet, and I had
It's fun.
Okay. Is that all? Okay. I was
No.
waiting for like a follow. It's fun, but I was waiting for that.
No, I mean like it's a meme for people to hate on it because it's like too actiony and like he punches boulders at one point. But I mean, it's a really fun game. We thought it got like too much hate, so like don't let the hype around it kind of sully you going in. Where maybe it's good. It'll like lower expectations when you start it.
Alright, because I was thinking of doing 6 because I also haven't played that, and I like messaged my buddy, and I was like, "It's like $8 on PlayStation Network. Should I get it?" He's like, "I don't know, man. It's like I heard like nothing but bad things about 6
$8
from
does not seem like that much of a risk.
It doesn't, but
Yeah,
apparently
here's the deal. If you pay, $8 for that game, and Jim and I just actually talked about this last week, that's another one, gets so much hate. The problem is for a Resident Evil game, it takes like 30 hours to get through the
Right.
whole story. And the first chapter, like Leon's shit, it's legit horror. And then after that, it's all action. Still well done, but it's like dear God, when is this gonna be? Like, there's so many fucking chapters, so it's just not a bad game, but it's just if you ain't got the time, I would say. Did you happen to do any of the remakes, like Resident Evil 1, 2, or 3 remakes?
I did 2.
I did 1, and I fucked up early on 2, so I got to restart. I went the wrong way too soon, so I got Tyrant or Mr. X on me, and I can't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, dude, the remakes they're like damn near like Resident Evil 1 remake is still my favorite game. It's just fucking it hits the nail on the head better than any game I can think of.
I love the original, and that because I mean the original remake was done for Dreamcast, I think, and
GameCube.
Yes,
yep.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, GameCube. Yep. So, like, how long ago was that? And it still holds up beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then when they did the HD remake to that remake, oh, my God. It just... I mean, I'm that sucker who's bought all those updates to that Resident Evil 1 because it's my favorite game. Mm-hmm. But the 2 and 3, like, 2 made those zombies, like... Oh shit, these are not just easy to take down zombies. These are hard as shit, and they're scary as hell, and the lighting's all fucked up, so...
And they'll throw lickers at you, like, real fast.
Oh.
Like, you just run in, and you're like, oh, we're there already.
Yeah.
Because, like, every other time, it's like, oh, okay, I came back to the house. Oh, hunters are a thing now. Mm-hmm. But no, they're just already peppered around. You're just kind of screwed.
Yeah, so Dan, if you want to poop your pants legitimately, I'd say try Resident Evil 2 remake if you can get it for a solid price.
No, I already got it. I got it when it came out. Yeah, I beat that shit already. Yeah. I got that, and I did the 1 remake, too. The 3 is the only one I haven't played yet. Because I heard it's super short. That's why I haven't gotten it yet.
It is. I take my time first time playing through a game. I think it took me 6 hours, if I'm being generous.
What was 3? I'm having a hard time remembering 3.
Nemesis.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Stars.
Yeah. Okay, I definitely played the original.
Yeah, and the 3 remake, it's same engine as 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like 2 where...
That's Leon too, isn't it?
No,
it's just Jill.
Just Jill?
And Carlos Oliveira.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, all right, wow. Yeah, you're right, I completely forgot about that. I played
it. The original 3, I always had the problem of, like, some parts were very unmemorable. Mm-hmm. But the Nemesis thing, like, he's still one of my favorite bosses from Resident Evil.
Yep.
And in the remake, it's like they get rid of a lot of the random puzzles, like the clock tower and some of the other stuff, and they make a more cohesive story. But once I got the hang of the game, dude, I blast through it like on the hardest difficulty in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one where I say, like, save your money unless you're a complete diehard Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, I'll wait till they come out with, like, the greatest hits with all the DLC and shit for, like, $20.
Yep.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Like, Mortal Kombat's finally getting with 11. I've been waiting, like, 2 years to finally buy that game, and they're finally just having that, like, complete edition coming out.
Yeah.
That looks sick. What was the last one? Was it like Rambo every coming out?
Yeah, I was going to say Rambo's coming out. They kept adding people every month. It was like Spawn, Joker,
RoboCop, right? Isn't RoboCop?
Yeah, RoboCop and Terminator.
Terminator.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's all the 80s guys that we grew up with.
Yeah, that's so cool. Did they actually get, what's his face to do the voice of RoboCop?
Peter Weller?
Yeah.
Peter Weller? Yeah, I think they did.
They did? Oh, wow.
I can't imagine he had a lot going on.
Wait, you mean you don't see him in all those new movies?
Look, he did those couple episodes of
in the
Sons of Anarchy
Returns.
Yeah, he was in Sons of Anarchy like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I thought he was good in that, and in the Batman movies. You're right, Pat.
Yep. Yeah. He was Batman in Dark Knight Returns.
He's great.
Yeah.
Actually, what do you call it? Irate Gamer just had him do like a cameo for his videos.
I saw
it. He like paid him a couple bucks with cameo, and like he's walking down the street shooting it, and I was like, oh my god, it looks like fucking death.
Yeah.
Like it was not a good look for old Peter Weller.
Wait, what is his cameo cost? Because if he's doing that, then we might need to check.
That Patreon might be good use.
Yeah.
Shit, we might do that too. We got RoboCop 3 on Sega and Super Nintendo, so...
Well, then you got to find out who was RoboCop in RoboCop 3.
That's right, so I can get it even cheaper. Nice!
That's right.
There you go.
Because I'm sure that guy's begging for money, man.
He's probably behind a 7-Eleven right now.
Have a good day. RoboCop needs to eat.
RoboCop 3. Oh man, the worst of the RoboCops. God.
It was funny. That was the first one I ever saw. I was like, why did anybody love these movies? And then I saw the other ones. I was like, I get it.
Yep.
So you take RoboCop, give him a jetpack, and he fights robot ninjas, and you fucked it up.
Somehow.
That's almost more impressive. But now, good question, Eric. And last up, from Alex Perez. In light of your recent video, what have been your best thrifting finds?
Ooh. So Jim, obviously, Jim has gone thrifting a little more than me, but I've managed to just find, like, a bunch of just really good, like, PC and some random PS1 games. There's actually a lot of games I have behind me are from the thrift store, but I did get Jim a pair of the Donkey Kong bongas.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And I always find, like, that type of shit, like the accessories or, like, the actual giant stuffed video game characters. Like, I have a giant stuffed Donkey Kong or Mario or all that shit. Honestly, it's a crapshoot. Like, half the time it's just a million sports games or whatever. But every so often you find one. And I always get that little moral dilemma when I go up and I'm like, I know this game is worth way more. And they're like asking $5 for it. But I'm just like, all right, like, here's the game.
Jackpot.
And yeah. But Jim, he's way more hardcore. So Jim, I mean, you found a lot thrifting.
Yeah, I mean, my best thing I ever found thrifting is going to be my CDI console. Because they definitely thought it was just a DVD player, so it was $8. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, Phillips, huh? I'm like, oh, this is pretty big for it. I was like, wait a second.
I got this.
So
game
I started like,
CDI.
you son of a. Gimme.
I had it growing up, man.
You had a, wait, did you have a CDI
I
growing
had a
up?
CDI growing up. That's the only reason I have Faces of Evil.
Wait, what the fuck? How did you have a CDI?
Because
did your parents like?
Yeah, my parents were like, "Hey, let's buy this weird thing. That's $700." Okay.
Wow.
It was our first CD player in our house. It was insane.
Do you want our son
Wait.
to ever see the outdoors again? No. All right,
No.
let's do it.
There you go.
You don't still have a CDI, do you, Dan?
Yeah, I do. It's at my dad's house. I didn't bring that, huge cooler with me, but yeah, I used to play it all the time back in the day, and I used to love that game, even though it's terrible.
It's funny when you're a kid, you can love a lot of bad things, like most of Jim's game collection.
I like the ones that are interesting. That's what I like to call them.
That's what you call them, Jim.
But yeah, besides that, it's kind of tough these days because Goodwill, like anytime they get an actual video game that isn't like Just Dance, they would put it right on their online store. So finding shit's gotten a lot harder than it was a couple years ago. But every once in a while, I
it's
can
like
still.
just a disc on a shelf scratched to shit. Like it's,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like it'll be like a random big box PC game that like I'll have no use for, so I don't even pick it up. Like I used to be the guy who'll be like, oh, $3, I'll pick up whatever game. Just $3, you can't beat that.
Right.
And now I'm just like surrounded by clutter, and I'm like, okay, no. Unless I
So
have
wait.
any intention of ever using it, I don't touch it anymore.
I will say, speaking of big box games, because you saying that reminded me, the three things that I absolutely love that I have that I got from Goodwill are the big box Tekken from PlayStation, the XCOM UFO Defense, and the Alien Trilogy.
Ah, nice.
Because I love, like, when you showed me that Resident Evil big box, I'm like, God damn, I want that. Like, I
Needed
have
it.
the the regular small one.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite collectible cases out there. And I don't have many of them, but those three I found at Goodwill. I was like, oh shit. As soon as I see them, I buy them.
You know what? When I was younger, I probably did trade all of them in and probably got 13 cents each one. But had to, like, there was no way Resident Evil was going anywhere. That was one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, like, I remember playing that. And same thing. How old was I? Probably 12, 13 when that was out. And you're like walking around your house after playing it, because as Dan said, you gotta play it at night. But like every little noise, you just and you stop, you listen, and then you carry on.
Now, are you that friend that your buddies would come over and they would watch you play it because they were too scared to play it?
That like my brother and I would kind of do that. Like I would play until one of us would die. Then he'd play, and we'd go back and forth. Like we were both big video game kids growing up, so that was like we would trade off. And then GoldenEye came out, and I kicked the shit out of him. He was pissed because he's older. He would have his like he was in high school, so say like freshman or sophomore, and I was in 8th grade. He'd have 3 of his friends come over, and I was just a son of a bitch with remote mines. So I would just destroy them. I would just toss them in boop, midair. Just like, here's your face. It was all about the strafing in circles.
Yeah, that's right. You had to master those C buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so funny with the older brother thing, because my brother used to kick my ass in the Sega Genesis, like sports games. And then it's like, because he was older, he's in high school, I'm still in grade school. I'm like, you're out on dates with those girls, and I'm getting good at these video games, sucker. Yeah, that, but the Resident Evil, dude, you just mentioned trading it in. The one thing I regret the most was I, one point, traded in the original Resident Evil PlayStation smaller disc one for the director's cut.
Yep.
And I was like, and I'm nowadays, I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have kept both.
Yeah.
But back then, I never saw any value. I'm like, why do I need 2 of the same game?
Yep.
I just want to get the better version of the game. So, yep.
Yeah, you get a couple more cutscenes of the zombie over the shoulder.
Exactly. Oh, Forrest is a zombie, and he comes after you.
Now it's in color, but less bloody. Woo!
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Like, I can even hear the sound that like plays when it happens.
And the Resident Evil 2 demo disc, that thing too. I remember I played that I wore out every possibility with the original Resident Evil 1, and when that Resident Evil 2 demo disc, I was like, oh man, Kendo's gun shop gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Every time. But yeah, now do you guys ever hit up thrift stores, or like, do you hit up any? I mean, obviously garage sales and.
What's funny is I'll hit up I have a couple thrift stores near me, and I'll go just check out what they have, because I found some cool shit there, but nothing video game related. It's always like I found 2 full like army fatigue outfits for like costume stuff. I found my karate gi, which will eventually be used. It's red. Spoiler alert. At some point down the road, we gotta hit it, but it's already acquired.
Nice.
No, I found some cool stuff there, like a lot of like hockey pads and stuff. I'm not wearing hockey pads, but I am, and like just a lot of like costume stuff, which will either be used for videos or just Halloween costume stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made a hell of a Batman Scarecrow costume out of some random shit I found there.
Yeah, that was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I found a random drum the other day. It was one drum. It was like a tom-tom, but I was like, whoever had the label, they ripped the label of the brand off, but I knew it was still better than anything I had, so I was like, $8, okay. Throw some heads on there, I'll be good.
There you go.
That's awesome. I've never found anything good at a thrift store. I'm like, whoa, they have VHSs here. Cool. Like I don't know. Like the thrift stores by me is just complete garbage, and like
Yeah.
I can never find anything good. I think I bought flannel once, and that's the biggest thing I've ever bought at a thrift store.
Thrift store pain in the balls because you have to go like consistently to have a chance of like ever finding anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, no, that was Alex. Thank you for the question.
That wraps it up this week.
Yeah. And once again, thank you everyone who does support us on Patreon. We truly appreciate it. And, keep submitting your questions. Make sure you get them in so we can answer them every podcast.
So, moving on to the topics for this week. First up comes to us from My Nintendo News, but it's been around a lot of places. So basically, Famitsu had a conversation with Sega's creative director, Yosuke Okanari. I think I didn't butcher that. And basically they were talking about their mini systems. So they just had the Dreamcast, the Game Gear minis come out in Japan only. And they were talking about the possibility of future mini consoles. So he kind of threw it out there. Yeah, we want to do some things with some things we can't do, but it'll probably either be an SG-1000 mini or a Dreamcast mini. And then everyone saw that and just kind of like blew up. So the basic question on everyone's mind is, if a Dreamcast mini comes out, what are the games you want to see on there? Okay, before we get into it, how much did you guys actually play the Dreamcast?
I was gonna say I barely played the Dreamcast, so
Less than 1%.
yeah.
I was one of the suckers who got it because of Resident Evil Code Veronica, which I've talked about my opinion of that game since then. The system I really liked. It had a lot of good gems like Power Stone. It had, for me, Zombies Revenge. I think you got to have like Crazy Taxi on there. which I still love that soundtrack with Offspring and all that.
Offspring, Bad Religion, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack for Crazy Taxi, and it was one of my favorite arcade games. It's such a goofy idea. Throw that on there. Throw Power Stone because it's one of the most coveted. Throw Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because that was the game that really sold that console.
I love that game. I had it for PS2. And that's my favorite fighting game of all time.
We had the arcade version of it. We actually had the box at my brother's house.
Oh,
Damn.
shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know you Marvel versus Capcom.
But yeah, like, you gotta have that. I mean, there's no way they're throwing Code Veronica on there. But, like, for me, for nostalgia, I love Zombie Revenge. And I showed that to Jim. And he actually really enjoyed it. It's a very fun arcadey... I think it was an arcade port. I don't know if it was in the arcade. I only know it from Dreamcast, but it plays...
I think it's just a weird spin-off of House of the Dead, that whole series, but it's just like a beat-em-up.
Yes. Outside of that, like, I mean, I had a couple different racing games I played. I wasn't that deep. Like, best case, I had 12 games for the Dreamcast at any given time. So, I'm not an expert on that.
Yeah, I guess, like, at first I would say, like, there's no way an SG-1000 mini is going to happen, because I think Sega knows no one would buy that shit. Like, that was their Japan-only system before the Master System. Like, it's either they keep that in Japan, or they're just not going to do it. But, yeah, I mean, I barely played... Like, my most Dreamcast experience was playing at my friend's house. So, like, I would want to see, like, Ready to Rumble, because, like, that was the one I remember, like, in EB games that they would always have set up. And I had Ready to Rumble on the N64, and I loved it. But then you see it on a Dreamcast, and you're like, holy shit, these graphics are amazing. Like, that was always, like, that stepping stone kind of game for me. And maybe, like, the weird one, like, Choo Choo Rocket for, like, a puzzle game. Or NFL 2K1 or NBA 2K1, like, some of the best non-EA sports games that were ever made. So that's, like, kind of some of the weird shit that I would like to see on there. Because, I mean, my favorite game on the system is Typing of the Dead, and you won't see that on a mini, so...
Thank God. Fucking Typing.
That game is a goddamn masterpiece, and it's perfect edutainment, Brian.
Jim, that was the one time when all the times where your parents would yell at you about you need to do your schoolwork and type and shit, it paid off for you. You finally were like, I'm good at games.
I find the game that was made for me, for being locked in my house as a kid.
Yeah. The Dreamcast, like I said, it's one of those weird systems. The things I remember about it is it was the best arcade perfect and affordable because Neo Geo wasn't fucking affordable. Where I was like, okay, this is affordable, and it was the first online game. I remember putting the landline in there and going on the internet with my friends, like, oh my god, like you can go on the internet here. But outside of that, like, I can't think of super memorable games from anything outside of what we just mentioned. So, a mini version of it, I don't know how well that'll do.
Like, the Sonic Adventures, you got to put them on there, and I guess, like, Skies of Arcadia or shit like that, or maybe Phantasy Star Online, but...
I played Skies of Arcadia. Didn't that come out on GameCube, maybe?
They did. They remade it. They remastered it for GameCube,
Okay, yeah, I played a little bit of it. You know what I played? I played Grandia 2. That's a role-playing game. They made that for PS2, and I heard that the Dreamcast version is a lot better, and I really like that game, so... Grandia 2, that's my vote right there. RPG guy over here. Yay.
Alright.
Jim's not the RPG guy.
I am also not an RPG guy.
I'm a huge JRPG guy, so Grandia 2 all the way.
Stories and video games with menu simulators. Oh boy, I can't wait to do this for 80 hours.
It's my bread and butter.
Yeah, we've established with Jim, he's that surface level. He likes everything. He doesn't want to go deep. He doesn't want meaning. He doesn't want story. He just wants everything up top. And it's fine. That's what he wants in video games, movies, music, whatever. But, yeah.
Getting into this conversation again, huh?
I honestly think, like, for moving forward with all the, like, the minis that they keep doing, like, I would love an N64 mini.
Yes.
Like, that would probably be the one I would be most excited about.
And, like, they show with, like, the Switch now with, like, the 3D All-Stars. Like, they can emulate the M64 and make it look good.
Right, exactly.
The biggest problem with the N64 mini is they have to get a Rare license.
Yep.
Because if you don't have Rare, like, don't get me wrong, they have plenty of the first-party titles and some other miscellaneous, but Rare is honestly what helped make that system so much fun.
Right. Yeah, because you had Donkey Kong. You had, I think they were also Killer Instinct.
GoldenEye, Perfect
GoldenEye,
Dark,
yep.
all of them, like it's
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie, like
Yep.
yeah, like you can't not have like when you think N64, chances are you're either
was a
thinking
rare
of yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pilot Wing 64.
Yeah,
I-
no, that's a
I
great
love
game.
that game.
I actually
That
had
was
that
good.
too.
I used to just plow right into the ground with the skydiver, just do those little bubbles that would blow up and be like, sorry, man.
Damn, I was joking. You guys like Pilot Wings? Oh shit!
I love Pilot Wings.
Dude,
It was like game 1 or 2, right? So it's
Yep.
like Mario 64 came out and Pilot Wings came out, and my buddy
Those were the
and
two
I-
games.
My
Yep.
buddy and I were both getting N64s, so it's like, well, we shouldn't get the same game because that would be stupid. So
You got fucked, didn't you?
I'll get Mario. You get Pilot Wings. So you can
Ooh.
guess which one of us was mad at the other the rest of our lives. It
Now,
wasn't
here's a
me.
good story for you, just the N64 thing. So we were supposed to get the N64 as a Christmas present the year it came out. It was like one of the big things, you know?
Right.
So Mom had bought it months in advance. Now, Mom just happened to work nights. She was a police dispatcher. So my brother and I would find it already wrapped. We would literally cut the tape line, take it out, hook it up, play it while she was at work, put it back in the box, slide it back into the wrapping, and just put it right back where it was. So Christmas morning, we pretty much had most of the stars already obtained in Mario.
that's quite ingenious. I like that.
And no parent's ever going to check that either.
Nope. We cut it right on the tape, and then we were like perfect about sliding it right back in.
Dan, it is funny you mentioned Pilot Wings, though. Two things about that. One, that was one of my thrift store finds, which I got for like $1. And I always remembered, like, that was a kind of fun game because same deal. I had a buddy who got the system, and he chose that over Mario for whatever reason.
Poor soul.
But the other thing is, and we don't have a topic for it this week, but
We can make
every
a topic.
yeah, we always do like gaming music, which is like songs and games that are inspired by real music, or vice versa. Like real songs are inspired by game music. So on Pilot Wings, and it's gonna kill me because I had this as a potential. Celebration is used as the background, and it's a very obvious as soon as you hear it. And Dan, I don't know if you remember the game enough, but I think it's stage like 3 or something. I can't remember.
Do you remember the
Gyroscope or
Gyroplane?
Gyroplane, yes, the gyroplane level. If you listen to that theme, it's using celebration as the background. And it's one of those ones where every week when we talk about these, some of them are super obvious. Other ones, like, we've had songs like Baby Got Back and like goofy shit where you're like, no way. And then you listen to it, you're like, holy shit, no, it is. This one is pretty damn spot on when you listen to it. Celebration was used in the N64 in like Diddy Kong Racing, Pilot Wings, and a few different things.
A few
But
different things.
You mentioned Pilot Wings. Yes. So I had to just throw it in there. That
Well,
you mentioned Pilot Wings.
celebration.
I still think Baby Got Back being the character selecting Contra Hardcore was the most random one you've ever found so far.
Wow. I never thought of that. Now I'm thinking of it. Wow, it is.
Yep. It's
I totally hear it. Oh my god. And I can even hear them with them saying their own like noise.
Yeah.
Let's rock. Oh my god.
yep.
Oh my
that
god,
was,
that is Baby Got Back. Oh my
I was
god.
gonna say that was like us with the Paperboy one. We heard Nelly.
I heard Nelly, yeah.
You heard Nelly, yeah.
Fucking- yeah, no, that is so fucking Paperboy.
Wait, did
2.
Nelly take a song from Paperboy?
Paperboy 2 is
Brian, write this down.
It's
on.
Nelly. Hot in here.
I am writing it down.
Yep.
Listen, you just watch our Paperboy episode because we compare the
Good
theme
plug.
from Paperboy 2 for Super Nintendo
Yeah.
to Hot in Here by Nelly. It's obviously
It's got the
rap,
beat
but
and-
it's got the
yeah.
same rhythm. It's a
Yep.
a little bit of and a little. I even splice it so you can like kind of hear it back to
Yeah.
back. It's pretty crazy how much it sounds like it.
I will gladly use that and plug the shit out of your episode when we do it too. Because right now it's so. I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago we did all the. I tried to mass cover all the Doom, and you said you didn't play Doom, but I mean, Dan, I know you being a huge.
9 Inch
Like-
Nails.
Nine Inch Nails, Alice in Chains, Pantera, Metallica. Literally, that's all that Doom soundtrack. I don't think there's an original soundtrack they made. All of it is pulled from 90s, 80s, late 80s metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we've been going through these, but yeah, I had to throw a celebration just because you mentioned Pilot Wing, so thank you.
In all fairness, though, they didn't write the Paperboy 2 thing because of Nelly. The Nelly thing came out years later, so I think Nelly took it. From
Nelly
Paperboy
stole it.
2. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
And I will die on that hill.
No, that's harder to find because we
Yes.
keep trying to find ones where like real artists stole it from video games.
Yep.
And so far, the only one we had was like Janet Jackson ripping off Sonic on the Game Gear.
Yeah.
So besides that, like everything's been
Everywhere
the
I
other way
go,
around.
yep, exactly.
I gotta listen to that because I'm not familiar with the Game Gear soundtrack, but
No,
I know
when you
that
hear
Janet
it,
Jackson song.
That the riff is, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, it's very creepy, but it's
I'll send you
much
a clip
more,
of the segment. We cut that into a segment too.
yeah.
Oh, so you cut something and then I cut something and then wait, this is what we do. We
Cross
give
cut
and
it?
receive.
Cut the shit out of stuff.
Brian,
so
cut that last line.
I will.
I have to cross-reference something, but there is I forget if it's either Hotel California or Stairway to Heaven, but there is something in there that I've heard, and you can only really hear it if you're listening on headphones or really good speakers. But there's one little section that sounds very much like something from Zelda. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Ooh.
Huh.
I'm gonna have to look for it, but when I do, I'll isolate it and send it to you.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
I'm writing that down as well too.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, speaking of Zelda, that was our one last week. Zelda Link to the Past, when they're at Death Mountain, is the Imperial March from Star Wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one I definitely know.
Yeah. And that one, it's like a more obvious, but it's almost so obvious that you don't think about it.
Yep.
When I sat and heard it, I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, there's another one too. You just reminded me of. It's one of the. I think it's Super Mario 3. It's the boats.
Oh,
Reminds
yeah.
me of something.
Yes, I had that one listed. God damn it.
well, one of the in an old Console Wars episode, I think it was one of the Home Alone games. Is totally stole Weird Science. Totally.
Weird side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of remember the music to the games, but that okay.
Well, I think it was the first Home Alone game. It's just like dun 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 dun. It's exactly the same. I think it's one of the Home Alone games. I've had a few shots and I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's the first Home Alone game, and I think it's the Sega Genesis one.
The Ghostbusters game totally ripped off Huey Lewis. Am I right?
Nice. Yeah, that those segments, that it's one of the ones we love. Like, we love going back and be like, God damn, like, does that change your mind on loving an old theme that you heard as a kid, knowing that it was kind of a ripoff of a popular song?
Yeah,
Right.
like it's crazy. Like Streets of Rage 2, the first stage, right? I always thought that the Move Every Mountain, I thought it was the Mystic Men or something. You guys know the song? That's Streets of Rage
yeah.
2? Yeah. I thought...
No,
I know the
Streets
Street
Rage
Rage 2
2
song, but missed what?
Yeah, there's like Move Every Mountain or something is the song that they ripped off the Mystic Mountain people, and then I thought the Mystic Mountain people stole from Streets of Rage 2, so I was so confused. So I think Mystic Mountain I'm probably not saying it right, but the first stage of Streets of Rage 2 is not an original. It's stolen, and I was so
Really?
bummed to hear that.
Which Streets of Rage 2, Jim? What the
Oh,
hell
no,
is
I'm
that
sorry.
called?
Stage 4. My bad. Stage
Oh.
4.
Stage 4. Okay.
Wait, what's stage 4?
How the fuck do I do
Fuck, this is killing me now.
Like the actual stage 4, or like the 4th song.
the stage? I think it's actually stage 4. When they're
Okay.
I think it's the baseball field one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Mystic Men Move Every Mountain, I think, is the thing, and then Streets of Rage, and whatever I keep saying, it's all begins with M. I can't remember. Exactly.
I am writing all of this down, and I will find out.
All right, I got a fucking internet in front of me. Let me see.
All right, now keeping the music chain rolling, like I don't think any of us care really that much about like Microsoft and GameStop teaming up. Like they're working together. Microsoft's going to keep GameStop alive for a little while
Right.
longer for exclusive shit. Okay.
Well,
Is there
you
stuff
know-
we could say?
A $40 action figure.
Right,
Yeah.
basically. Just
I mean,
just Master Chief stuff instead of Funko Pops now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unfortunately, Jim and I said, we I always appreciate GameStop as my go-to if I want to get physical copies of games of last generation. Like if I want 360 games or whatever, and soon it'll be Xbox One and PS4, like I could get 3 games for $20 or whatever it was.
Right.
And that was the last place I could do that because all the actual video game stores near us tend to overcharge, be like eBay prices with a little bit higher, and they don't usually carry last console or current console. So that was my, like, if I needed a physical copy and I wanted to get it right away, that was my last place to go to. So I wasn't one of those people that was happy GameStop was going away. And I'm fine if Microsoft is keeping them alive. Like, if I need physical shit, cool.
Yeah, I just messaged everybody. So it's the Shaman. I was way off. The Shaman, but it is Move Any Mountain.
Who live in the mountains.
It's Move Any Mountain, and I'm pretty sure it's the Streets of Rage 4, level 4 theme, and it's exactly ripped off from this band. And I thought the band ripped it off from them, and I remember hearing it on the radio one day, and it blew my. I was like, what? They stole it from Streets of Rage, but
oh,
no.
dude, it's exactly the same, and that is definitely gonna be our topic next week. So. Thank you, Dan.
I remember researching it during our Streets of Rage 2 episode because I was gonna be like, and then this band stole it from them, and I was like surprised, like, oh no, they stole it from this band. All right, I'm just not gonna mention that because I like this song.
Yep. Yeah. Now, Streets of Rage 2 is debatably, and you guys have been through so many Sega and Super NES games, but when I think of best soundtracks for the Genesis, it's hard not to put Streets of Rage 2 as top 3 easily.
It's tough, but like I also like kind of Streets of Rage 1 a little more, maybe.
You like it?
That's great too.
And it is good, but you're going to say that entire soundtrack's better than 2?
I guess 2 has a lot more, so it's easier because like 1 only has 8 songs pretty much.
Right.
But like I don't know, man. Like 1 was the first one, and then that opening theme. The first time you hear that Streets of Rage theme, it's like it chills down your spine.
And what they do with
man.
like a 4 meg card too, like it's kind of crazy what he fit on there.
Yeah,
Like for being such an early game and shit.
No, 1, I remember that opening theme. What the hell is it called? Moon Beach or whatever the hell it was.
Moon Beach is a classic.
And then it was that first stage. The fuck is it called? Like Dilapidated Town or something? You remember that, Jim? Stop looking at your phone, you son of a bitch.
No, I was looking at fucking something good. Pardon me. But what? It just came over me. But no, but I know what you're talking about though. With the like the second stage, that more like jazzy, like low key kind of town.
Yeah, I think it's called Dilapidated Town. But no, 1 is great, but I don't know. 2, when I think of soundtracks of Sega Genesis, you take away Sonic 1. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's probably one of the most memorable from that console.
That's good. It's just stage 1 in Streets of Rage 2 is so good. It's just so good. But like I still really like stage 5 in Streets of Rage 1. Oh, that on the boat. That song gets me. That song gets me. I could run to that shit. And I do run to that shit. So I like that.
You know what no one likes is Streets of Rage 3 because that soundtrack sucks. Because
garbage.
Jim loves it and he argues that it's actually pretty good, and I refuse to put it in a top 10 list of any Streets of Rage games that we
I
did.
said the disco song should have been on the top 10 list. At
Which
the very
is
least, we
why
had
you're
one
always
representative.
wrong.
Didn't I put? I think I put that in the Power Hour just to fuck with you guys.
I think you did. Yes, you did.
And I was like, I was way too excited than I should be.
That's your life.
All right, but speaking of fucking with people, all right, let's keep this game going. So, Dan, one of our recurring segments is which is better. So, for you, I'm gonna say which is better between 2 of your loves, Nirvana or Alice in Chains.
This is tough. This is tough because I'm in a tribute band for both of them. And Nirvana is the reason I picked up a guitar and decided to sing and be in a band, and I'm kind of a music teacher, so you know, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing with my life right now. And then there's Alice in Chains, which is just fucking so good. Gun to my head though, gotta go with Nirvana. it's in my DNA, man. Like, I fucking sound like Kurt Cobain when I sing. I know how to play like almost every song on guitar, and just yeah, like I said, it's the reason I play guitar and the reason I really got into music at all and kind of found direction in life. Because like before that, I was just kind of like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like I had an identity. I'm just the weird looking half Asian kid. And now I was like, all right, music it just became like everything to me. It became my shield, it became my identity. So Nirvana, man, like all the way. That's just what I gotta do.
What about you, Pat? What do you think?
I'd probably say the same. I mean, I liked them both growing up, but I think Nirvana was definitely more of a mainstay, or like I was more familiar with them growing up. And I remember Kurt's death, and that was like, what was I, 10? I think I was 10 when that happened, 9 or 10, but I was just like, holy shit, and that just kind of resonated. And then I kind of got into Alice in Chains later on, but nothing like Nirvana. Like, I think I still have every album on CD.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you, both you guys, what between lyricists, who do you prefer? Like, putting aside song lyrics or the actual band behind them, just lyricists based on their voice, who do you prefer?
I mean, if I'm gonna go like strictly like lyrics and voice, I'm gonna kind of separate those.
Yeah.
I kind of like. I'm gonna go with Nirvana for lyrics because, like, as a songwriter, as a terrible songwriter, I kind of went the Nirvana route. Just like, let's just make some fucking weird fucking words that kind of sound like this, because like it's mostly the music for me. Like, Kurt Cobain was always about like the music first and the lyrics second, and that's kind of like how I approach my songwriting too.
Okay.
I feel like Lane was probably, since he wasn't really the main songwriter, I feel like it was mostly like Jerry coming up with a riff, and then he'd be like, okay, maybe I got something here. But although Lane did write his own songs, but I feel like Lane's a little more spot on, like heavy drug references and a lot of what Lane does. And then Kurt's, it's still pretty dark. It could get
but
very
more
dark.
Broad.
Yeah, it's exactly more broad, a little more vague, not really.
Are you telling me "Rape Me" was not dark?
It wasn't. It's not as dark. I mean, it was more of a personal message about the band, just like how they felt like people were treating them, and that gets played on the radio. So,
right.
But I guess
it does.
So. Yeah, so
This is a nice Richard Cheese version, I think.
I guess I could prefer like Kurt's kind of like I don't give a fuck about like anything, so I'm just gonna write kind of like whatever, and if it's still popular, whatever. And it was. It like Smells Like Teen Spirit. What the fuck's that about? Nobody fucking knows, but everybody fucking loves that song. As opposed to Alice in Chains, where it's like, well, this is about something. Oh yeah, I could feel this guy's like in pain. He's down in a hole, whatever. And then so like for lyrics, I'll go to Kurt, but like when you go like toe to toe like vocally, I'm gonna give the edge to Lane, just because that's such a unique voice. I've never heard anybody since like just come even close. I know there's like bands like Godsmack that kind of come close and are very influenced by Alice in Chains, but like you just watch Alice in Chains live, like this skinny 80 pounds when wet guy come up with this. Where does that come from? Like it just blows my fucking mind, and it breaks my heart that like his addiction like overcame him, because he was so fucking talented. That is fucking talent. Like just making that sound coming out of that fucking tiny body. So like I'll give the lyrics to Kurt, but I'll give the vocal talent to Lane.
Did you see their Alice in Chains Unplugged when Lane was really sick?
Oh yeah,
and he was still belting out that shit just acoustically. I was like, God damn, like, vocally, I was like, that was not the person I was expecting to, like, because as a kid, I knew Alice in Chains very on the surface, but then as YouTube and shit, and I looked it up, I was like, that was not the body I was expecting, like, belting out some of this shit.
No.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you expect a bigger guy. In 1996, dude, he was losing teeth at that point. He had to wear these fingerless gloves because the heroin, it just destroyed his veins. So he could not wear gloves. It's insane, like how damaged he was as an individual, and still just able just to have this immense talent. And it's just so fucking heartbreaking to see that shit is overtaken by the drugs, man.
So to close out this particular segment, though, and it may be too hard for you guys, but I want to throw it out there. Favorite Nirvana and Alice in Chains songs? And I know that's probably really tough.
I want to say, for me, I think the song that gets stuck in my head from Nirvana more often than not is In the Pines. That one just kind of pops in there.
Where'd you sleep last night?
Yeah. Where'd you sleep last night? Yeah, that one will just pop in there, and it'll stay there for a while. And I think Alice in Chains, probably Rooster. That's the one that gets stuck in my head at random from them.
Nice. What about you, Dan?
I know the Nirvana one. It's Lithium. I've talked about Nirvana being this dark band, but Lithium, even though it's like kind of subject matter because it's about a drug, Lithium, but it's when that fucking when that fucking kicks in, man, I just like, I don't know, something like some drug in my head, like some endorphins or something just kick in, and that just like it's like
Lithium.
yeah, it's audio lithium, man, and it's just like this is it, man. Yeah, I feel it. It's amazing. It's a hard song to perform vocally, but it's definitely my favorite Nirvana song. Just because, like, even the way he like plays lyrically, just like I found my friends there in my head. Just the playful manner of that too. So lyrically, and then the melody is just the catchiest and happiest, if that's a thing Nirvana does.
Yeah.
So I really love that one. And Alice in Chains is a little bit harder because I don't know. There's just so many, but I think I told you this when we were doing the Power Hour. Actually, not the Power Hour, but the Fuck the Dealer. I put on my Alice in Chains mix, and I think Nutshell just might be my favorite Alice in Chains song. Just like laying out there just by himself. It's a very low and somber song, but it's very powerful at the same time. And the way they use that song to open up Unplugged too, so it was just like. Yes, that was the perfect song to open up Unplugged, and I think it's my favorite Alice in Chains song.
Nice. What about you, Jim?
I think for Nirvana, I'm kind of torn. It's either going to be, like, if I'm going to go for, like, the deep cut, like, probably, like, the song I like the most, it's probably Been a Son.
Interesting.
Why? If I'm going to go...
Why that? I'm just curious. I'm so curious.
It's the rhythm. Yeah, it's just the rhythm to it, like, because like I've said it on here before, like being a drummer, like the last thing I care about is lyrics and shit like that.
Yeah.
So like as long as it's like if the lyrics have a good flow, then I can get into it. But like something about that and Lounge Act would be like my two flip flops.
I love
for
playing
like the ones
Act.
that I like them.
Oh, I love Lounge
yeah,
Act. That's a fun one.
Yeah, but like or if you want to go even a deeper cut, do I Hate Myself and Want to Die off the Beavis and Butthead album. So.
Nice.
A little on the nose of a title for a song.
Yeah.
Was gonna be the original title of In Utero, but the studio's like,
right.
maybe let's not call it that.
Let's make something that might sell. Let's try this first.
Have you thought about calling it Aw Shucks? No? Okay.
And Jim, what about Alice in Chains?
That's tough because I still haven't dug that deep into their like back catalog. So like if I'm gonna go straight up Alice in Chains, it'll probably be like a normie answer like Dirt or Them Bones. Like those are the ones I like the most. But anytime I want that like Alice in Chains feel, I'll randomly go to, because of an old cover band I was in, Jerry Cantrell's like solo stuff and like his song Cut You In. Like for some whatever reason, like if I want like an Alice in Chains sounding kind of deal, like because Jerry was just as important with the lyrics and the vocals as Lane was arguably.
Yeah.
So like if you hear one of his songs, it sounds just like an Alice in Chains song. So that'll probably be like the one I go there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, mine are pretty easier, but they're more tied to nostalgia and just general moods of when I heard them and things I think about the most. Nirvana is Come As You Are. That's like one of the ones, like, just lyrically, I'm very much into lyrics and meanings of the shit. So for me, that connected with me much more. And then Alice in Chains, the first song I heard was Man in the Box, and that was always mine. But as of now, it's probably Wood, because that song, like, once it gets into the riff, like, I don't sing any Alice in Chains song as hard as I do that once it really gets into it.
That's a fun one.
And I can never hit any. I mean, obviously, I'm nowhere nearly you, Dan. But like, I'll be in my car. I'll be screaming it out, like the whole lyrics.
Into the flood again. Oh,
yeah,
I love that one too. It's a good one.
Now, Dan, which one's more fun as a band to play?
For Alice in Chains or Nirvana or both?
I was gonna say between the two bands, which one do you think's more fun to play?
It's tough. I mean, it really depends on the song. Like, I love playing like the stupid Nirvana, or not necessarily stupid, but like the less popular. Like, I love it when we go into like Blue or Soundless Apprentice for Nirvana, and I love like Them Bones and Angry Chair for Alice in Chains. Well, not necessarily obscure for them, because we're not that deep into the Alice in Chains library yet. So, I mean, I'm just more comfortable doing Nirvana, so I guess I'm gonna lean towards that. But I do. Surprisingly, like our last show, which was like, you know, during this COVID era, like our Nirvana set didn't really connect with the crowd, but our Alice in Chains did, and I was just like, oh wow. So, you know, whatever connects, you know, whatever works at the moment. It's usually Nirvana, but the last show was Alice in Chains.
I would imagine some of those Alice in Chains screams being a little tough to get out there.
It's difficult. Alice in Chains is a lot more difficult for me vocally, just because it's Lane has an
it's difficult for
range.
anyone, right?
Yeah, and I don't really have Lane's voice, and I kind of do this poor.
Not many people do.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said. So yeah, it's tough, but it's also fun because. You know, I love the harmonies of Alice in Chains. That's one of the hooks that they have. Is they have the fucking like they're haunting harmonies. That's why I love Angry Chair so much. It's just like this kind of. It's just, it's so fucking good, man. I love that band.
Yeah.
Well, Pat knows he has Kevin Conroy's voice, so
There you go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I need Kevin Conroy to sing Angry Chair. Can you?
You're going down.
that was beautiful seeing that comment section on that video because the whole time just like, holy shit, he sounds just like Kevin Conroy. He sounds just like fucking Batman.
It was always weird, like the ones that were like, he just sounds like Val Kilmer. I'm like, what the fuck?
Somebody said that. I was like,
what the
Val
fuck?
Kilmer do you
what,
know?
Yeah, what Batman Forever did you watch, motherfucker?
Yeah. The name.
Are we talking ice or are we talking like fat, like, you know, drug addict Val Kilmer in 2005? Which one here?
The one from the Doors movie.
So wait, so speaking of which is better, Jim actually put up another topic here, and this should be, I think it should be much quicker than what we just talked about, but what do you guys think is better between the original NES Punch-Out, you could call it Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, whatever,
Punch-Out, yep.
versus Super Punch-Out for the Super NES?
Wait, what's better?
Yeah, between the two, and you can tie in, and this is where, you know, if you go on a technical level, we understand which one's better. But from historical context, what you think aged better, all the above, which do you guys personally think is better?
Which one's
People
better?
always get mad because they're like, well, what do you categorize it by? And we're just like, it's a fucking bit. Like, just
Yeah. I hate that too, by the way. Like, when people are like, well, how could you say this is better when it's clearly this? It's like, dude, you understand we had a puppet talking about wanting to see us oiled up. It's kind of a comedy shtick, okay? Don't take it so fucking seriously. You know, it's just
Some of the comments we get that are like that long, I'm like, okay, bud.
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna read that.
Yep. What are you, a fucking co-op?
I was hoping we get some Departed in before this time.
It's working. It's working overtime.
overtime.
You smoke? You don't smoke. What are you, one of those health nuts? Go fuck yourself.
They wouldn't be Puerto Rican.
Dan's the only one who can say that here.
I am, because I'm not fully white.
So, what do you guys think? I mean,
I'm going
curious
original.
with you.
I love the original. Like that.
Yeah.
I played that so much. Like so many hours spent once you get to Mr. Goddamn Sandman. It was just like when you get to the second round, like, why is Don Flamingo not going down so easy now?
Yep.
Is there anyone here? Let me ask this: does anyone here think Super Punch-Out is better?
No.
I'm not even gonna
Okay.
go like on nostalgia because I barely even played the original Punch Out. But you know what I did? I listened to the music a lot, oddly enough, and
Oh, it's so good.
just based on the music,
The
like
music, I still
Yeah.
love the music.
it's so fucking tight. The music in the original Punch. I couldn't hum anything from the Super Nintendo game because it's not that good compared
I mean,
to
you got
the
Carl
original.
Winslow training you. It's amazing.
Right.
That-
yeah, like
I mean-
Super's a good game, and it mimics your arcade well. But no, I don't think anyone's really going to take that
Yeah.
over the NES original.
This is one of those beautiful examples of we know on a technical level, graphics, whatever. Yes, obviously Super Nintendo's better, but The NES just aged better. No one ever
Yeah.
talks about the Super NES
Exactly.
version. And it's one of those series where you do wonder, like, why didn't it become like all the franchises that NES spawned?
Right.
That's one game that kind of lived and died by the NES. Like, it was done with that. And it was such a goddamn iconic. It's arguably one of the best sports games next to Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES. Like, why didn't it become such a franchise? Because it was so goddamn fun.
Like, you could literally put a video of the game up and put it on mute, and I will know every song and sound that's happening as I'm watching it.
Yeah.
But no, that was from our buddy Kit. So, good one, but, I mean, it's like, we know which one kind of should be, but we know which one it is. Like,
Right.
Plus, it has Mario in it.
It does.
It
He's
does.
the
Very true. And our last topic for the night. One from a guy you guys know well, our buddy Todd, Snarcast. Overrated, underrated. Crash Bandicoot. The character. Or the series. I might go the series.
I think he meant series.
I think he did. Yeah.
I enjoyed them. I mean, they were fun. I mean, they got a little more difficult later on, but they were damn fun. And I like, you know what? I enjoy the game almost just for the commercials with the guy in the Crash Bandicoot suit.
Yeah.
I used to, me and my buddies made the same commercials, but we did Sonic and Mario versions of those commercials because PlayStation was the new kid in town. So we're like, fuck this guy, let's make our own commercials of Sonic and Mario. So we actually, there's footage of me out there, my buddy pretending to be Sonic and Mario.
Terrific.
It's so fucking great.
Put 'em
I
up.
love those.
Dude, Crash Bandicoot was... I'm going to go crazy underrated because that was on that PS1 demo disc that was yellow and tie-dye. And of all the games on that disc, it was like 20... I can't remember how many games. I played the shit out of that. I got that game. And I didn't get an N64 till later, but that was the first 3D game where I felt like, wow, this controls really well, but it's also really tough.
Is that the same disc that had Wipeout on it?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay. Yeah, I had that. Yep.
Yeah. And it was one of those games where I was like, this is like a really good controlling. Like, so many 3D games suck dick so bad. That one I felt controlled better. And honestly, it's controversial. I like the control in that game better than Super Mario 64 because it just felt a little tighter in the way it controlled. And honestly, nobody ever calls that game overrated.
Yeah.
Like, no one talks shit on that game. But I think it's underappreciated for... They were going up against a juggernaut in Nintendo.
Yeah.
And, it didn't live up to Super Mario standards or Mario standards, but
even
it's a fucking
background-wise,
great game.
like, board-wise, everything was beautiful. The color was great. Like, the especially the 3D maps as you're running with, like, the logs and jumping over everything. Like, the mapping all was smooth. It all went with you. You had the little tiki guy just following you around.
Yeah.
Like, it was
the
seamless.
environments felt way more busy than most N64 games. Like, there was so much going on.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't throw a penguin off a cliff, but you can't always throw a penguin off a cliff.
Exactly.
We all threw that penguin off that
Oh,
cliff.
yeah, that's why that penguin existed.
We all still do.
Yep.
But it's, for me, it's definitely underrated because it's underappreciated for a time of when it came out and what it could do and how tight those controls were. And how just fun the game was, which is what's most important.
Yeah. I'd almost say it would be overrated until the Insane Trilogy and 4, which our buddy Bladebur worked on.
Yeah, Blade
Yes.
Lord. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So with those, like, it's like they've had a return to form after, like, they kind of had like a drop off in like the PS2 era.
Sure.
So you could be like, all right, the first two are good in team racing, and then blah. But no, I'd say in general the series is probably overrated or underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get your shit right, Jim.
I concur.
So yeah, let us know in the comments below if you guys think it's overrated, underrated, and keep in mind it's the entire franchise, like Jim. But yeah, with that, Jim, do you have any other topics we want to hit off of?
No, I think we're good.
All right, so Pat, Dan, you guys plug away anything you want to throw out there. I mean, you got your new show on, what is it again? CBS?
That's
Yeah, with all the bad Star Trek.
kind of shit. No.
I mean, just check us out on YouTube. If you haven't seen our channel, it's youtube.com/console wars. We're on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I also have podcast I do too, a movie podcast where I compare old movies and their remakes called Retro versus Remake. You can also find that on YouTube, iTunes. What is that thing that all my friends
Spotify?
listen to? Yes, that's my thing my friends listen to. I've been drinking a little bit. Yeah, so if you like movies and comparisons, we don't necessarily like choose a winner, but we always decide, should this remake exist? That's kind of the goal of that one. So the last episode we did was Mulan. So
Poor bastards.
So there you go, if you want to hear what our opinions about Mulan. And we got the Halloween episode coming up about the Halloween movies. So that's an interesting one, because that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that out there. Okay.
Nice.
I'll throw out my website for anybody in the tri-state area. Got a clothing line. It's DKNJ. It's DECAYNJ.com. It's all kind of Jersey themed with a horror, video game, comic book touch to it all. We also have the Console Wars face masks, hoodies, and t-shirts available on that website.
Yeah, so all the links for all that will be below. And with that, guys, we want to say thank you for sticking with us. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, on iTunes. Give us a rating of 5, even if you want to blast us in the comments. We'll read them, talk about them. But with that, we want to say thank you again.
And thank you to you guys for coming on once again.
Hey,
Some of our favorite
always,
people out there.
Always appreciated.
One more
Absolutely.
shot, right? Or no?
No,
Jim,
no,
are you
fuck
doing another one? Jim,
No.
don't be a bitch.
Tomorrow's going to be bad enough.
All right, so with that, guys, we want to say thank you. Thank you, Pat and Dan. Have a good night, and cheers.
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 Cheers.